I did my May investment portfolio update, and I intentionally don't pay attention to the stock market news. I look at the charts, and my parents keep the news on more than I do. I kind of focus on weather and, if there's any breaking news. But I did hear about the stock market going up after some tariff announcement. And that's why it's so important if anyone would have sold their stock. And oh, by the way, I'm in the middle of dealing with the skin flare, so it's from changes in hormones from menopause. But anyway, I'm under the care of a dermatologist, so thanks for your understanding. But anyway, back to the stock market. That's why it's so important to do the dollar cost averaging and buy it slow and steady. Slow and steady. If you would have sold any of the stuff while the stock market was down, you would essentially lock in the loss. Honestly, I think the next thing I'm going to do is look at the prices, look at the range, and what I really want to look at is for each stock, what is the total dollar loss? And when I get some money, just buy stock based on the dollar amount loss. So let's say, for example, I had a $100 loss. I would invest $100 into that stock to balance it up, to hopefully get the cost basis and the balance being equal. The cost basis is how much you've invested. So it is starting to get dark. Here's what's going on with my skincare journey. I am still using the medications, and with the perioral dermatitis, it can take up to a month for it to completely heal, which is why I'm working on doing all I can to make sure I'm doing my skincare routine, keep stress down, and there's not much that I could do about menopause. Some of the things that they suggest that are good things to eat are something that I can't eat because of dietary and health restrictions. I make sure that I am out of that driveway, okay? Matter of fact, okay. I left about an hour earlier than they had said that I could work, because the person that I work closely with was going to a offsite meeting, and I said I'll go ahead and wrap it up an hour early. So I went ahead and did my timesheet and everything. She's like, "You could stay an hour." I said, "I'm doing this module for the CDC, and they're fairly monotonous, so it requires a fresh brain, so which I don't have right now." So I started them, and yeah. First, I get a request from this CPR contractor for this rate. Now, the only reason I do these contract jobs is to make sure that I meet the minimum requirement for when I renew, okay? That's the only motivation. So I already have enough of Red Cross. So I have no motivation to do it. None. Now I want to do some American Heart Association. That's the only reason that I will do those classes, because sometimes I can hurry up and just get some I can hurry up and get some over, and then I could focus on doing the kind of classes I want for the LLC. But I had already previously had this contract company offer me $120 to go to Alabama or something like that. I mean, that's insane. That's ridiculous. But these people, I've worked for them before. It already doesn't pay well enough, but I just do it to have experience teaching adults. By the time you figure the equipment or anything, it's not really worth it to do 1099s. You have to have some other motivation. So they offer $155, this contract company, to go travel all the way to South Carolina. I went and looked on my phone and did a Google Maps, MapQuest, whatever, and it is around 6 hours round trip. It's probably more like 6.5 hours once you figure in potential traffic. And I sent them the screenshot, and they said, I sent them the screenshot, and I said, you're saying $155 to go to South Carolina? That's 6 hours round trip. That's what I'm thinking in my head. They're like, well, we ask instructors even further out to help a client. I'm like, look it, you are not helping me. You just gave me some good content. You all must have bumped your head. Are you okay? Are you okay? I mean, seriously, are you all okay? There's no way. It's bad enough doing $110 for a job in Atlanta. I get the price margin, but it's 10 people in there. And if you're going to charge $88 for each of those classes, and it's 10, that's $880. I ought to get at least half of that. Now, if you was going to say $400 or $500, I might think about it. I mean, I'll go, depending on how the weather was. Teach a class, do a quick turnaround, and go visit South Carolina. That would be the only way that I would do it. But to go up there, $155, and here's the crazy thing. They're paying someone $165 to go drive out to Swanee. I don't live in Swanee. But how are you going to pay somebody $165 to go to Swanee, and you're going to offer them $155 to go to South Carolina? And I just texted them back after that. I didn't even know what to say. I mean, there's some things I could say that wouldn't be very nice, but I said, 6 hours round trip for $155. And I just texted that, and I just said speechless. So hopefully, I'm about to really, they need to leave me alone. Because I worked around, let's see, I worked from 9 to around 2. And I know that I made more than twice than that. And I was sitting up there going to meetings and doing some I would rather go do a minimum wage job and get paid $11 an hour. I'm not making a lot of money, but it's not really a difficult job other than physical labor. I'm not using my brain to do that, other than to make sure that I'm careful picking up the stuff and to just watch out for the boxes not to fall and stuff like that. But That's like nothing. And then you already have to put aside, you have to figure your equipment, travel for gas, there and back, wear and tear on the car. There's already wear and tear on the car for going to a local training. I just said those people must have bumped their head. So hopefully they don't text back. I just said speechless. I don't know what I could politely say to these people. And they're not bad people, but they're like, we'll ask an instructor that's even further away to help out a client. Okay, you're helping out a client. No. Find me some American Heart Association classes so I could teach them. That's how you can help me. Now, I will, I'm trying to find some American Heart Association classes to teach because I'm letting my business grow organically through word of mouth. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of promotion and stuff like that because you run into some interesting people when you do promotion, because people basically, they don't really want to pay. So the only reason that I have the resources to teach the classes is so I keep my certification up to date, and I can keep that up to date. I'm focusing on getting mine, and then after that I want to get all mine done before August for recertification. And then I'm going to focus on my daughter and my daughter-in-law, and we'll just teach some different classes. But it's just like, bro, you're out of your mind, $155. And they said it's full instructor led. You are out of your mind. So that means that they haven't even watched the videos and stuff like that. I'm like, you are out of your mind. It would be different if it was like $155 and it was up the street or something like that. I really wouldn't have a problem with that. It's right up the street. It's not a lot of money, but it's right up the street. I'm like, these people are out of their mind. They're out of their mind. And I don't want to have that kind of mentality when I go teach a class. When I sign up for a class, I'm going to make sure that I'm free. And when I go there, I want to be very pleasant. That's why I don't teach these classes very often. If I taught these classes all the time, it would just make me mad for the amount of money. That's why I only bid for these classes every once in a while, and generally the clients are real nice. I mean, I had fun teaching the class, but what I don't like is lugging all the equipment. I need to go get myself a couple of those wagons, but it's just like, no. Had this one drive way out in Gwinnett, and then I had the other one way out where Virginia Highlands is. Bruh. I promise you, let's see, I worked 5 hours. I'm making between 50 to 60 an hour at the contract job. So you're figuring between 50 to 60, and I worked around 5 hours. I made around $300 before taxes there. These people are crazy. That's why I don't overbook myself doing anything, because I wouldn't want to have this kind of mentality going in there. That's why when I got asked to do the hospital job, one thing the supervisor says is, I don't want you to overbook yourself and get burned out. I want you to stay here for a while, which is why I said I'm not available for next week. I already said I didn't want to do that. It's something significant that happened around this time of the month for next week, and it's a very significant anniversary, and I think that I will be okay, but I don't want to have to do anything where I'm really having to be like super pleasant and super customer engaged, because that's how you have to be at this hospital. You have to be like, hi, welcome, I'm so glad you're here, thank you for coming. That's how you have to be. And it naturally happens because I really do enjoy that job. The smile comes naturally because I enjoy the clientele it's really, to me, it's a fun job, but they take super good care of you. You're really spoiled. All the equipment is there. They have everything you need. Only thing you have to do is put it on this cart and bring it in there and clean and set up. They have every single thing you need, and you're making anywhere from 40 to $48 an hour. Nurses, okay? So if you do a shift differential, you'll make more money. Now, if I was going somewhere and they had an assigned place and they had all the equipment there and I just had to bring myself, and it was Atlanta, that's no problem. That's like the hospital. But I'm having to lug on, this is my equipment. And then I'm having to replace gloves, the plastic lungs, all the different things. Everything I use, the cleaners, the wipes, everything. I have to clean the tables, probably move stuff around, then set it up. And then when I'm done, I have to do all the sending all the rosters, checking them in, checking to make sure they got it done, deal with clients that haven't completed their stuff and want to stay in the class and finish it while they're in class. That happened last time. Deal with traffic if it's around the 5 o'clock hour. So by the time I get done, I mean, if I'm teaching a class that's from 2 to 4:15, I've already left out of the house early so I can be over there by at least 1 o'clock. And then sometimes I don't get home. If it's bad traffic, it might be 6 o'clock before I get home. So you're thinking 12 o'clock to 6, it'll be like 6 hours. So you figure in 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, that's 6 hours. And you divide that by $100. $100 divided by 6 hours. When you figure it all, it comes to about 16 an hour. And I haven't figured in my equipment and stuff. So you're going to have to minus at least $15 when you figure all the equipment and replacement like that. So you might be at somewhere between, when you start figuring all that and the travel and the gas and all of that stuff, you might be at maybe like when you figure the travel, the time that it took and that money, you might be looking at somewhere between 14 to 15 an hour when you figure out everything. And then they wonder why they can't keep people. You wonder why you can't keep people. But again, I don't mind doing it if I'm trying to get my teaching to recertify. But after that, it's no value in it. The only reason I did it last time is because they had a BLS class. Literally, that's the only reason I did it. And I taught 2 classes. I stayed there for a full day and got all my requirements over. I was sick as a dog, too. I was sick as a dog when I did that class. Anyway, let me stop. I mean, I'm not, they're sending these bidding stuff, but that stuff like,